What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished their second matchup of the season with the Cleveland Browns at home in Week 14 of the 2024 NFL season. Pretty solid game overall. I apologize immediately that I'm crooked. I apologize for the background noise as well. I'm crooked. I've got a new camera set up right now, trying to figure out how this is going to work. Please tell me if you've got any more ideas for leveling right now. I'm brand new at it, still figuring this out with this new camera setup. That being said, Pittsburgh goes and gets the win against the Browns in the redemption game. Everyone freaked out 2 weeks ago when Pittsburgh lost on a short week in the snow on the road. I said it was no big deal. They came back nicely last week with a big win with Russ getting over 400 yards. Jameis went down and got almost 500 yards passing last week against the Broncos, but lost. So Cleveland was a little excited coming off the big divisional victory against us. A lot of trash talking back and forth on both sides, which of course, and we'll get into this, but George Pickens did not play, had some kind of a hamstring injury, so was thought to play up until this morning, wind up missing the game, which obviously is our single most talented and biggest contributing pass player on the offense, definitely kind of an MVP for us. Not playing meant that it was going to be much more of a run-heavy kind of game, which it usually is in these physical divisional battles anyway. So Pittsburgh comes in. The game starts a little bit maddening to begin with. Cleveland definitely took a step back offensively from last week against Baltimore. But Cleveland comes out, I think, on their second drive, gets a 30-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy, who kind of gets up the seam in between three defenders. He found a soft spot, I think, in the zone. It looked to me like I believe Dante Jackson didn't rotate over fast enough. So Jerry Jeudy goes and gets a 30-yard touchdown, coming off his gigantic week of 230 yards last week receiving. So Cleveland gets up 7-3. We settle for a field goal, winds up being 7-3. And then Pittsburgh gets a lot of 3-and-outs. Pittsburgh winds up really stalling out, can't find their rhythm. Really for the majority of the first half, up until the last drive of the first half. Pittsburgh goes down, gets a touchdown on a shorter field, and then gets up 13-7. So Cleveland only winds up being down 13-7 in the first half, getting the ball really on the back of two missed field goals. We are blessed early on that Cleveland couldn't really make up for our lack of production on offense in the first half of the game up until our last drive, because Cleveland had like 6 or 7 offensive line penalties, like pre-snap penalties, plus I think one on special teams. Also had 2 missed field goals, which they've had a lot of problems with this season. So between the offensive line penalties stalling out their drives and their missed field goals, which should have been a tie game at the end of the first half, 13-13, wound up putting us up by a touchdown. Third quarter, Pittsburgh gets it together, starts finding the backs of their running game. Both Najee and Warren kind of get into a groove for a while there. Warren starts getting some good pass receptions also, start finding our way around the field. Some good sideline plays by Scotty Miller and Mike Williams. Pittsburgh then gets 2 straight touchdowns and pretty much finishes off the game. Cleveland hangs around a little bit. Pittsburgh goes on to win 27-14 in a game that really, again, the first half should have been even closer. Second half should have been further apart. So Pittsburgh goes down and wins, albeit a bit of a sloppy game, mostly on Cleveland's end. Pittsburgh just didn't have a lot going for it until the third quarter offensively. But defensively, aside from that one drive, didn't give much up. The one touchdown drive to the Jeudy touchdown. And then after that, Pittsburgh really starts getting more pressure on Jameis and, of course, causing the Jameis interceptions. Pittsburgh got 2 picks this week. I said we would have definitely 2, possibly 3. Pittsburgh goes and gets 2. The 2 guys getting the interceptions, I did not call those guys by any stretch of the imagination. But let's get into some stats, and we'll talk about who shined today. Pretty paltry day from Russell Wilson. Nothing special, pretty pedestrian. Only 15 of 26. 15 completions, 11 incompletions, so nothing special there. 158 yards passing. Again, without George Pickens, you kind of know it's going to be a slower day offensively. I did expect a little more from certain guys. We'll talk about it. But 15 of 26, 158, 2 touchdowns from Russ, no interceptions. 2 really solid touchdown plays, both in the seam. One he hits in the seam to Pat Freiermuth on a nice play down the middle. Very, very good throw. Freiermuth goes in for the touchdown. The other play is a kind of a boot out. It's a option read, so he fakes to the running back, rolls out, has the option to keep the ball or throw it. Throws the ball to Van Jefferson for 10 yards in the touchdown. Nice play by Van. Both touchdowns were nice. No turnovers from Russ, so that always feels good. So, again, not as flashy as his last several have been, but he goes and gets a multiple touchdown game and leads us now to, 6-1? Russell Wilson, 6-1 in 7 games. Pittsburgh all the way up to 10-3 feels very, very nice, especially getting another divisional win. We have now beaten all 3 of our divisional opponents. We're 3-1 total, lost the 1 to Cleveland, but we've gotten victories over all 3 teams now, putting us a full 2 games up over Baltimore in our division. Running the ball, Najee Harris, 16 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. The yards per carry is super low. I think it's at 3.3, if that. Did he even get to 3 this time? Pretty low yards per carry. Had one really nice drive. He had like a 19 or 20 yarder bounce into the outside, and then came back with a strong 7-yarder on the inside, and they kind of cooled him off. He had a couple really good runs in a row. Didn't play the rest of the drive. They brought Cordero Patterson in, and then Najee came back in, got a nice touchdown run. Finished off a good drive, and then was out again for a while. So they kept taking him out when he was getting hot. Jaylen Warren then comes in. He has a good game, much better on the yards per carry. Overall, 9 carries, 47 yards, and then also gets 2 catches for 25, so he's our yardage leader for the day. But he didn't get enough. I mean, again, 11 touches for, where are we at, 60 plus. We're looking at 70 yards here on 11 touches. Get Jaylen Warren more touches, keep Najee going when he's hot. They kept trying to alternate 3 running backs and put Patterson in. Patterson wasn't doing anything. His only catch was for a negative yard. He also had a carry for a fumble. So bad day for Patterson. Very ineffective. And I understand, you want to give your guys breaks so you're not running your guys into the ground. But again, Najee got put down when he was hot, and Jaylen Warren became the hottest this game and didn't get enough touches. So the running game was working for us. The running game alternating with the swing pass to the running backs, and we didn't do enough of that. So positive day, especially for Warren. I give Warren and Najee a positive. Negative for Patterson on the fumble and the negative pass reception. Our receiving leader today was Pat Freiermuth. 48 was our high. Again, without George Pickens, the big play wasn't there, but we didn't take enough attempts either. Pat gets 3 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Van Jefferson also had a catch for a 10-yard touchdown. I talked about those already. But we didn't give enough guys opportunities. We played a little scared passing the ball. Part of that was because the running game was working and the line was blocking pretty well. We were scared, I think, of Cleveland's pass rush. Which we'll talk about in a second. But we didn't take enough shots. We took 2 deep ball shots to Mike Evans. I wish we had Mike Evans. Mike Williams, we took 2 shots to. Mike caught both balls. One was a clearly obvious offensive pass interference that was called back. He caught it and he pushed off, so they called it back. The other one, he pushed off again. They didn't call it, so he caught it. So Mike Williams caught both of the moon balls today, 2 for 2 on the catches. One offensive pass interference was called properly, and one was not called, thankfully for us. So Mike gets the 1 deep catch. Scotty Miller had 2 nice catches in this game. He caught both of his targets. Good to see him back in the game. I mentioned him last week not getting any playing time. It makes sense that he got playing time this week, but he didn't get enough targets. He was 2 for 2, 3 for 3 in catches this week. Had some nice plays, including one on the sidelines for a beautiful catch, like 15 to 20 yard catch on the sidelines. Nice play. Played some good outside routes and made some nice contested catches. Didn't get enough chances. Ben Skoranek wasn't really given any targets after a couple nice catches last week. Van Jefferson really only had 1 target, and that was his touchdown that he caught. He didn't get very many chances. Calvin Austin got a few targets, but nothing was really good his way. One was a short screen play that he got hit on because it was a bad play design. Another one was a short screen play that he caught for 3 or 4 yards. He got 1 or 2 of the deeper plays downfield, but they were incatchable, overthrown balls on purpose that Rush just threw away. So a lot of our guys, again, not impressive as to be expected, but didn't really get any chances. Darnell Washington was thrown no balls today. One bad design play to Michael Pruitt, so he wasn't used. Pat caught all the stuff that was thrown his way, but he only got 3 targets. So while the run game worked well and the pass game was to be expected to be slowed down, we didn't give our guys a big chance there. Offensive line, big positive across the board. I really liked the way they played Myles Garrett today. Much, much better. He had 3 sacks against us last time. Only 1 late in the fourth quarter this time when the game was already decided. So Garrett only gets 1 and it was late. So that feels very good. Nobody else got a ton of pressure. Russ was able to get out of the pocket when he could there. So I'm going to give all 5 offensive linemen a positive. Plus, I don't think we had any offensive line penalties in this game. I think we might have had 1 false start. Not sure who it was called on, but I didn't see any major penalties, no holdings, no big drive stallers. The only one for us really went on defense. We'll talk about that. But yeah, offensive line, no major penalties, no procedural things that were stupid. Only 1 sack allowed to an elite player. Feel very good about the line this week. Defensively, let's get into it. Cam Hayward gets 2 sacks. He had a very good game today, plugging up the middle of the field and making sure that if Jameis got to the outside, he had no second chances to extend the play because he's pretty good on his feet. Nice job, Cam Hayward, with 2 sacks today. Highsmith gets a sack, and he had about 4 or 5 pressures. He was hitting Jameis a lot. They did call 1 on Highsmith in his return game. They called 1 late hit. Or roughing the passer, I should say, after Jameis threw it. I don't think it was roughing. It was only 2 steps. It was like a second and a half. It was 2 beats, and it was only a shoulder and an arm. It wasn't. He didn't fall on him. He didn't drive his weight into the ground. He didn't use excessive force. It was 1 arm knocking Jameis to the ground. So bad call there. Not going to hold that against Highsmith. Highsmith with a good sack and several good pressures. Good game for him. Once again, Cleveland is maybe the best team in the NFL at holding TJ Watt off. TJ did have 1 or 2 pressures, had 2 very nice plays in the run game, 2 tackles for a loss in the run game, 2 guys coming off the edge twice, just nailing Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford. So 2 good plays in the run game for TJ, nothing in the pass game. So excellent job by Cleveland in that regard. But 3 sacks for Pittsburgh in this game. 2 interceptions. You'll be surprised when I tell you that Keanu Benton got his, I think, first career interception. I think it was his first one. Read a screen beautifully. Was moving up the field to go in the run game. Noticed it was going to be a screen. TJ or somebody jumped up to impede Jameis's vision. Being Benton, who was already getting good pressure, read the play, went over to the side, jumped in front of the route, and picked off the ball. Very athletic play. Great job by Benton on that. And the other one, James Pierre. I think that Dante Jackson got injured. I think he came back into the game, but he might have been in and out, just like getting subbed out because the game was kind of already figured out, and they didn't want to risk further injury. I'm pretty sure he's okay. I hope that he is. Again, you guys know I'm not a James Pierre fan by any stretch of the imagination, but Pierre got a nice play here. Jameis had an overthrow. He was looking for a ball in the middle of the field. We had Porter underneath, and we had Pierre covering over the top. Nice coverage. Jameis with the overthrow on a bad decision. Pierre slides down and makes a really nice pick. So good job there for James Pierre. So Pierre and Benton get our 2 picks this week. Massive positive for Deshaun Elliott. Deshaun Elliott's everywhere. Deshaun Elliott was great today. 2 nice pass deflections in coverage. Had a really good pass coverage day. Possibly the best of the team today. Plus 10 tackles. He was all over the field. He was tackling in the receiving game. He was tackling running backs. He was around the line of scrimmage for blitzes that were effective. He was in pass coverage. He has taken up every bit of what Minkah Fitzpatrick usually is for this team that he has not been this year. Deshaun Elliott, what a clutch pickup. Of all the guys we picked up this year, including Patrick Queen, who's been playing well, Deshaun Elliott has been our biggest pickup. Deshaun Elliott's been excellent. Again, nothing against Russ, nothing against Patrick Queen. Valuable pickups across the board for Omar Khan, but none bigger this year than Deshaun Elliott. Huge. Big positives again. Patrick Queen, after a pretty bad game last week, he had 3 or 4 good games in a row and then kind of a down game last week. Came back this week nicely. Played well in coverage. Got some nice blitzes. They used him to hit the hole a lot. Had a couple nice plays in the run game, so good game for Queen. JPJ, Joey Porter Jr. Excited to say this, that he played a really good game and didn't have any holding penalties. Did have 1 bonehead play out there. He was a retaliation. The guy hit him in the face mask, and he threw the hands to the face back at the end of the play and got caught as the retaliator like they always do. And called JPJ for that penalty. Bonehead move. You got to know the refs are watching you. The play's over. Just let it go. If you take a shot to the face after the play, you can handle it. Let it go. Don't make the immature play there. That's his 1 negative play. Other than that, overall, played pretty good in the pass game, physical, got a few knockaways, didn't commit any penalties. That's the big thing I was looking for. No big plays allowed on his end, no penalties. Happy to see that. Again, the one dumb play you got to watch. Other than that, I'm going to give a positive for JPJ today. And Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson playing in the run game. Had a few nice things in coverage. Peyton Wilson, very solid today. Special teams, 3 positives to give out. Chris Boswell, 2 for 2. The man doesn't miss. You got to feel good about 2 for 2 on Boswell. Helping to anchor the 27 points on offense today. Waitman, big day for Corliss Waitman. 6 punts, 313 total yards. That is an average on 6 punts of 52.2 yards per punt and one inside the 20. He was booming the ball all day. Excellent job for Waitman. One of those punts was fumbled by Kadarius Toney. Yes, Kadarius Toney is somehow back in the league. Kadarius Toney got a penalty by throwing a ball at Ben Skoranek and taunting a possession earlier, which got us a plus 15 for Skoranek. And then the next one down, there's like a 60-yard, like a deep punt from Waitman, which Kadarius Toney drops, fumbles right through his arms, and Skoranek dives on and picks up. So Skoranek wins twice today. Ben Skoranek, big positive. Kadarius Toney, LOL, why are you in the NFL? Excellent job for us there. So yes, not the prettiest game in the world, not the flashiest numbers, but Pittsburgh goes out, does enough on offense, puts up 27 points, even for a lackluster passing day. The defense does a great job after that 1 touchdown drive of holding up and not allowing much more for the day, getting some turnovers, clean game on the offensive line, no big penalties either way on holding or anything procedural. Pretty clean day overall. You got to feel good about Pittsburgh getting another divisional win, and again getting to 10-3. Feels great. We've got a pretty rough stretch now. We have 4 games left in the season, and the next 3 are against Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Baltimore. 3 of the best teams in the NFL. So there's going to be a rough stretch. I want to say this really quickly, just in case Pittsburgh loses the next 2. I'm not going to sit here and be a downer. I'm not one of those negative fans that gets down on the fans. But it gets down on the Steelers. I want to tell you this, though. If Pittsburgh happens to lose to Philly and KC, the sky is not falling. If the worst case scenario happens and Pittsburgh falls to 10-5, we're still 10-5. A lot of us predicted 10 or 11 wins. I think I said 11. A lot of fans predicted 10, some predicted 11. We're already at 10. We're at 10-3 right now. If we happen to lose to Philadelphia and KC, we still are 10-5 with losses to 2 of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best 2. Do not get down on this team. The sky is not falling. If we happen to lose these 2 games, we're still in a great place with losses to 2 of the best. Calm down in advance, because I know how Steeler fans get. Either way, 10-3 feels good, and I'm looking forward to our game next week against Philadelphia, and I like our chances. Pittsburgh's got a very good chance to win that game. Philadelphia is very beatable, and Pittsburgh right now under Russell Wilson is 6-1. I'll see you guys next week. Go Steelers. Merry early Christmas. Don't be a Grinch. Cheer for our team. Take care. See you next week.